I took the time to listen to most of the UAP congressional hearings, and it was interesting to say the least, and to say the most. I watched this because I'd noticed a really good portion of the internet talking about aliens and UAPs and UFOs again, and I have a tiny problem with a lot of it. Maybe I'm just being cynical here, but my problem with a lot of this is that like the news outlets and social media really want you to think that they're talking about and confirming aliens. And since there's so many insanely presuppositional questions being posed from jumpy politicians that are excited to get their hands on new information and hear new things, people are using these to take advantage of your clicks. And until they walk an alien out there, I'm not believing that they're here yet. The other problem that I have with this hearing is the amount of non-answers from the whistleblowers. There is a whole lot of I'm a whistleblower, but I'm not allowed to whistleblow going on.
Are you read into secret UAP crash retrieval programs?
We would have to have a conversation in a closed session, ma'am. I signed documentation 3 years ago that restricts my ability to discuss specifically crash retrievals.
Former DoD official Chris Mellon reached out to you about satellite imagery from 2017 that depicts a UAP. What were the dates in 2017 when this occurred?
I can't share with you the details, ma'am, but I can do it in a closed setting.
Okay, so who has the imagery?
I can tell you that in a closed setting.
Okay, where was it?
I can't tell you that, ma'am.
Do any U.S. contractors have the same?
I would prefer to address that in a closed session, ma'am.
Can you name the country and around time frame that the first back-engineered UAP program started?
Ma'am, unfortunately, I would not be able to have that conversation in public.
Why are you sitting in the chair? Why are you here? Aliens have not been confirmed. I don't think they've been to Earth, and I think everything from these hearings revolves around man-made human objects. I do believe that these UAPs and UFOs obviously exist. There's military footage of them. There's civilian footage of them. They're popping up in different places. It's consistent, but I don't necessarily believe that they're aliens. I'm not diminishing how severe the situation is, though. I just have no idea if aliens exist because I've never been presented with evidence. I believe if aliens do exist, they might be like microbial or plant-like in nature, maybe something that we can't necessarily comprehend right now. If aliens do exist or there's life out there, I don't even think it would be intelligent. Look at us and how intelligent humans are compared to other animals here on Earth. Our intelligence is obviously quite rare, and it took a very specific set of circumstances on the evolutionary line for us to get to this point. I feel like we anthropomorphize the concept of aliens a little too much because we don't know what we don't know, and we can only assume they're like us because we can't really think of any other ideas that stray too far from the reality that we're surrounded in.
Well, how are you watching your movies?
Oh, well, I just go to Redbox, and then like right when somebody tries to return a Redbox, I grab it. They can't see me. I'm using the invisibility technology.
I see. But we did go ahead and see. So we got a photo of you being invisible, and it does look like a white sheet just sort of draped over your head.
It works.
Like the assumptions that aliens would be like us in terms of intelligence, having some sort of advanced technology, I feel like is unlikely. I'm not saying UAPs can't be aliens. I'm not saying aliens can't be intelligent and they can't fly spacecraft and do crazy cool things like aliens are supposed to do. I'm just saying I don't think it's likely that they're intelligent, and I don't think that they would even have any remotely similar characteristics to humans at all. Obviously, we have a huge list of anecdotes and experiences, but in terms of empirical evidence of aliens, it's not there, or it's very gray and complicated. You can say you've seen them all you want, you can say you've been abducted, you can say you've worked on super crazy projects, but I'm not believing anything until there is tangible evidence that isn't crashed weather balloons or hoaxes. Sorry, Bob Lazar, your words were extraordinary, but your evidence was not. Look at this video. This isn't my actual explanation for this by any means. I don't know what's actually happening, and neither does anyone else, but just a thought. Do you think that maybe this could be some sort of military experiment and they are quote-unquote penetration testing themselves? Or maybe this is some sort of drone from another government. I don't know, it could be anything. That's why it's called an unidentified anomalous phenomenon. As much as they might be UAPs, I feel like UAPs are just weird instruments from people here on Earth. I mean, seriously, everyone was glitching out about Chinese spy balloons like 2 years ago. We had a hard enough time identifying technology that originates from Earth.
New this hour, dramatic new details about the unidentified object shot down by fighter jets just miles off the coast of Alaska yesterday. Unlike the Chinese spy balloon shot down last Saturday, this object demanded more immediate action yesterday. Officials say it was flying much lower at 40,000 feet, making it a dangerous potential threat to civilian aircraft.
The internet is pretty torn on this topic. It seems like a portion of the internet is oogling at aliens and the other half is going, this is just a conspiracy from the government. They're dangling keys in front of your face to try to cover something up. And honestly, both of these sound like conspiracy to me. What I think is happening is I think that there are some bad questions, bad answers, some misunderstanding, and some clickbaity media. Obviously, there are good questions and good answers in this too, like where the hell is all the money going? What's up with all these black budgets? And these are some some high caliber people answering some very serious questions under oath. They get penalized for lying. And just like everyone else, I'm not accusing them of lying, but it's probably easy to hear some of the things they say and blow it up out of context and completely run away with it, especially when they get asked these super extreme presuppositional questions that they can't provide a proper answer for, which is like half of the questions. Maybe I'm just overthinking the questions and the media responses to this stuff. It just sounds so ridiculous to me. Listen to this one question that one of them gets asked when they're talking about UAPs.
Would you agree that it's likely that they are being piloted by some mind-body connection?
Ma'am, I think it is safe to presume here that they are being intelligently controlled because some cases seem to anticipate our maneuvers.
Would you agree they're being piloted by some sort of mind-body connection? What an incredibly vague presuppositional question that could totally be misinterpreted and taken any other way you want to take it. If it's a drone that's being piloted by a human at a desk or just a human being in general, I could consider that a mind-body connection. If it's Glorp the alien using his mind powers to control a spacecraft, I would consider that a mind-body connection too. What is mind-body connection in this context? I personally feel like that's a super bad question that forces an answer. And to sum up what he says, they move intelligently and respond to humans, and they move too fast for a human to be inside of it without being killed. So what does that mean for news articles and clickbait? Mind control. Got it. There's no way it could ever be the case that, it's just some guy at a desk piloting a drone with some cool new technology that hasn't been disclosed yet. It just has to be mind control, because that's the way the presuppositional question influenced the statement, and that's what gets the most clicks for the damn article. He never said anything about mind control. He effectively said it's reasonable to believe that they're being controlled somehow, because you can't put a human in there. Where the does mind control come from? They also do things like talk about non-human intelligence, which is like what a lot of the media is playing up on. They go, there's non-human intelligence, which a lot of people would assume that it's aliens, but non-human intelligence also means artificial intelligence or machine intelligence, which I think is much more plausible. Let's look at this statement from Breakpoint News. We are reevaluating what the definition of life is. And this statement might make you think it's in correlation to some aliens or some extraterrestrial discovery about life or life on another planet, or this is some groundbreaking stuff that's coming out of this hearing, but it's not. It's a loosely contextual statement that got totally taken out of context just to make a clickbaity title. And this comes from one of the people asking another incredibly presuppositional question: is it safe to infer that they are living craft?
I guess would it be safe to infer that they're living craft?
I'm not prepared at this point to state for the record is something alive or not, because even that definition is hard. There was a time in science we thought that life required oxygen, and we now know that's not true. There are anaerobic bacteria that thrive in oxygen environments that lack oxygen. And so also same with photosynthesis. When I was in college, I was told everything is derived from photosynthesis as a form of energy. In reality, that's not true. There are things that live off of chemosynthesis. So we're constantly having to reevaluate our understanding of what the definition of life is.
And he goes into a very long-winded response about how he's not qualified to answer, and about how in the scientific community they've debated what's needed for life and what life is, because some bacteria don't need oxygen and kind of breaks the principles of schnapps. The scientific community has debated what life is for centuries. Scientists still argue whether or not viruses are living. I don't know why he said this, because in the end his answer to the question was, I don't know. This statement did not add any value to the answer. They're not re-evaluating the definition of life because of aliens or UAPs like the title would make you think. But the hearings aren't all bad. Like, obviously there is some serious stuff being exposed here, like deep black budget stuff. Projects like Immaculate Constellation are now getting more light, and I think things like this should and shouldn't be exposed. Obviously there are things that the public can't handle, especially in North America and the United States, because we freak out over everything. And for the sake of national security, there are probably some things that are best left to be secret. Like, say as a hypothetical, aliens are real, and they're helping the government develop super new, powerful, war-winning technology, and I'm not saying the government has the good hands that this technology needs to be in, but in the event of this happening, this needs to be kept secret. People will figure out how to do everything if they know that they can. We've had civilians attempt to learn how to build nuclear bombs before. But on the other hand, I want to know where my taxpayer dollars are going, and I want to know what the government is up to. I think things like government transparency is incredibly important outside the bounds of national security. I want to know what these guys are up to with my money, and if this type of stuff doesn't affect national security or really important things, expose it. Dump it all out in the open. But don't go up there and be like, I'm a whistleblower, but I can't whistleblow. It was incredibly brain draining and interesting, but incredibly disappointing to watch this happen because it kind of just went nowhere. It just ended up being like a bunch of people asking super crazy questions with like no answers attached to them. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully I don't sound too insane. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe, dislike, unsubscribe, whatever you want to do. Thanks for your time.